Valve isn't only under pressure from players right now, they're under legal pressure too. And this story could hit more than just case openings. It could affect the entire skin market around Counter-Strike. On February 25th, the New York Attorney General sued Valve over loot boxes in Counter-Strike, Dota, and Team Fortress. Then in March, Valve publicly said it plans to fight back. At the same time, a new class action surfaced. And on top of that, Germany is rolling out the X-ray scanner for CS2 containers starting March 16th. So this is no longer one isolated controversy. It's pressure coming from multiple directions. I'm Dale, and in this video, we're breaking down what Valve is actually being accused of, why the skin market is at the center of this, what Europe is already changing, and most importantly, what all of this could mean for regular Counter-Strike players. Let's get into it. If you strip away the legal language, the New York lawsuit is making a very simple argument. The state is saying this: Valve isn't just selling cases, Valve is selling a chance at a valuable item, where the outcome is random, and that item can later be sold for real money. That's why prosecutors are framing it not as a normal game mechanic, but as a gambling-style system. Their logic is straightforward. You pay money, the outcome is based on chance, and what you get can carry real market value. So from their point of view, that starts looking a lot like gambling. They put special focus on Counter-Strike because opening a container in CS visually resembles a slot machine, and because rare items can be worth a lot of money, not just a few dollars, sometimes thousands, and in extreme cases, much more. While everyone is arguing about cases again, on GGDROP the deal is simple. Promo code TRGRT gives you an extra 11% on your top-up and a free wheel spin. So you add funds, get bonus value on top, and an extra shot at a solid drop. And there's one more key point. The lawsuit doesn't just target the case opening itself. It targets the combination of the case and the market. So for them, the issue isn't only random drops. It's that those random drops can become resellable assets. That's why this story matters. This is no longer just about cosmetics in a video game. It's about a system where random rewards connect directly to real monetary value. And this is what makes the story even worse for Valve. The New York lawsuit isn't the only hit. There's also a new class action. So Valve isn't only being pressured as a company that regulators say may be breaking the law, it's also being pressured as a business that plaintiffs say built an overly aggressive monetization system. That's a different kind of threat. The state lawsuit basically says, this is illegal, stop it. The class action says, this harmed consumers, and there should be accountability for that. So on one side, Valve is dealing with questions of legality. On the other, it's facing questions about damages, reputation, and financial exposure. And the most dangerous part for Valve isn't just the allegations themselves, it's the pattern. When these stories start coming from multiple directions at once, their biggest defense gets weaker. The idea that this is just a normal game mechanic everyone already accepts, because when government action and private lawsuits start attacking the same system at the same time, it stops looking like internet outrage around a video game. It starts looking like a real structural problem people are willing to fight over. Now we need the other side too. Valve is obviously not saying, yes, this is a casino. Their defense is built very differently. Their argument is that loot boxes are optional cosmetics, not required to play, not pay to win, and closer to digital collectibles than gambling chips. In other words, Valve is trying to frame the system not as gambling, but as a form of digital collecting. And they have a second major argument. If regulators push too hard, Valve will say that extreme restrictions could damage privacy, digital ownership, and the broader idea of an open item economy. So their defense isn't only, this isn't gambling. It's also, if you regulate this too aggressively, you break more than you fix. That's the real conflict. One side says this is a random value reward system tied to money. The other side says it's a voluntary cosmetic ecosystem that functions like a collector market. And the next phase of this fight will revolve around that exact boundary. Where does game cosmetic end, and where does the law start seeing a gambling-style model? This is where we hit the real pressure point. If skins just dropped into your inventory and stayed there forever with no meaningful market around them, the pressure on Valve would be much weaker. But Counter-Strike doesn't work like that. You open a case, you get a random item, and then that item can be sold on the Steam market. That connection changes everything, because the case by itself is already chance-based. But once the random drop has a market price, it stops feeling like just a cosmetic. It starts behaving like an asset. A digital one, sure. Contained inside an ecosystem, sure. But still an asset with price, demand, and liquidity. And that is exactly where critics are applying the most pressure. Their argument is, Valve isn't only selling the excitement of opening a case. Valve is maintaining a system where the random result immediately plugs into a market. So the core issue here isn't just cases, it's cases plus a marketplace. As long as a random drop can quickly become a tradable product, the legal pressure on Valve is going to keep coming back. This is where we get an important signal. While Valve is being pressured through lawsuits in the US, Europe is already moving toward practical restrictions. Starting March 16, 2026, CS2 containers in Germany are getting an X-ray scanner. On paper, it sounds like transparency. You can see what's inside a container before you buy it. But there's a catch, a very Valve-style catch. Once you scan a container and reveal the item, you can't just move on to another one. To scan the next case, you first have to buy and claim the item you already revealed. So this is not a removal of the system, it's an adaptation of the system. And that matters, because Valve is already showing that it's willing to change how case opening works on a country-by-country basis. Not globally, not for everyone, but selectively, where the pressure is strongest. And that means cases no longer look untouchable. If the pressure keeps growing, Valve may not fight forever in the same way. It may keep building local compromises. And Germany might not be the exception. It might be the test case. Now let's bring this down to the player level. What does all of this mean? Not for lawyers, but for regular Counter-Strike players. Most people won't feel a full collapse. Cases stay. The market stays. But in some countries, you start getting more restrictions, more warnings, and more weird local rules. So you still play, still open cases, still trade. The system just becomes less free and more regulated. Now let's look at this from Valve's side. Why will they fight so hard? Because for Valve, this isn't a dispute about one case or one country. It's a dispute about the structure of the entire ecosystem. If you admit that this system is too close to gambling, you open the door to broader restrictions. Not just in Counter-Strike, but in Dota, Team Fortress, and basically any game built around random digital rewards. And there's also the control issue. Steam has been built as a closed, convenient, and highly profitable environment. Cases generate volume. The market generates volume. Fees generate volume. If regulators start attacking that connection, Valve is going to defend it aggressively. So if we sum it all up, the picture right now looks like this. Cases are not disappearing tomorrow. The market is not collapsing tomorrow. And Valve is definitely not about to throw its hands up and shut everything down. But the idea that things will just keep working like they always have is getting harder to defend. Because the pressure is no longer isolated. You have lawsuits, you have class actions, and you have regional changes like Germany. If you want, next episode we can break down what happens to skin prices and market behavior if Valve starts tightening the system for real. For now, that's it. Wishing you nothing but absolute banger games.